We know Zzombee can be a little scary at first, so in this video we're going to give you a quick start on how to get some sounds and understand where everything is at. At first, you want to set your preset toggle to the live position that's in the center. That's just to make sure that everything you are seeing reflects what you're hearing. Once you are in live mode, you want to go into your filter router. You want to first decide if you want to use filter modes or amplitude modes. Filter modes, you would flick the toggle to your right or to your left. On the right, you're applying the filter to the instrument signal. To your left, you're applying the filter to the octave signal, the parasite. At the center, the filter is going to be off and we enter amplitude modes. Right now, I have the filter being applied to the instrument signal. I also rolled off the parasite, so I have no octave signal. After our filter router, you want to go into the mode toggle, and you have 3 different modes to select. Whenever you have a filter applied, you have the ramp mode, LFO, or mad mode, or if we are on amplitude modes, you would have the parasite mode, the cross mode, or the B mode. Right now I have the filter being applied on my instrument signal running an LFO mode. You want to select now the balance between your B and parasite. For now I'm going to keep my parasite rolled off and leave my B at the center position, so this is the sound that I'm getting it. At this point, you may want to use your buzz level toggle to select or add some gain to your instrument signal. Right now I have it on dry, so it's fully clean, but I could add gain to it. I'm gonna keep it clean for now. When you are on filter modes, one of the key controls is your wingspan, which sets the bottom of the filter. Let's hear what that sounds like. Now let's say we want to switch and add our filter to the low octave instead of the instrument signal. So where you want to go is to your filter router. You're going to flick to your left side and then you're going to bring up your low octave. So right now we're going to have the low octave with the LFO being applied. You can notice that my instrument signals is still running clean right next to the low octave. I'm gonna add some gain to my instrument signal, so you're gonna hear it louder now. Now let's say I want to use, instead of LFO, I want to go into the randomized filters, the mad mode. So you just go to your mode toggle and you flick that to your right, mad mode. You can see that now I have a randomized filter running on the low octave, while I have my instrument signal running in parallel with a fuzz sound because I have my buzz level at maximum. So I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna apply that same random filter to my instrument signal back again. One of the coolest features of this pedal, it is using your ramp and rate foot switch. That ramp and rate foot switch will perform different functions throughout the modes. On modes where we have an LFO type of movement, this will momentarily start and stop our movement. So right now I have the randomized filter running, and if I hold, you will see that the LED stops, so it stops the modulation. So let's hear that. That's pretty cool. One thing we could also do is double tap the bypass, and that's the way for you to fully stop the movement. Now you can see that the LED is not modulating anymore, and you have just the filter fixed. And once you hold your ramp foot switch, it will trigger the movement of the filter. So the same thing happens, for example, on an LFO mode. Let's go back into the LFO mode. So I'm going to double tap my bypass to fully stop, and now I'll have the filter fixed. And once I hold my ramp foot switch, it will trigger the LFO movement. So it is also important to know that whenever we are using a mode that involves a ramping movement, that foot switch will trigger the ramp. So I'm gonna flick my mode toggle to the ramp mode, and we're gonna hear what that sounds like. Now that we've seen a little bit of the filter movements, let's go into amplitude modes. So for us to enter amplitude modes, we first want to go to our filter router and set to the off position at the center. And now the mode toggle switch is going to switch between the parasite mode, the cross mode, or the B mode. I'm going to set my mode toggle to the cross position, which is in the center. Right now we're going to have a cross tremolo running, so it's going to be bouncing between the low octave and the instrument signal. In this mode, the wingspan is going to be controlling the depth. So I'm going to set that to a maximum so we hear what that sounds like. That's pretty cool. If you want to set a more mellow transition, you roll back your depth a little bit and now let's say we want to do a standard tremolo, not the cross tremolo. All you need to do is roll back one of the signals. So I'm going to roll out my octave and I'm going to be left with just my instrument signal with a tremolo applied. I'm going to make it a little cleaner. It is also worth mentioning that any mode that involves an LFO type of movement, you can tap tempo using your ramp and rate foot switch. So let's see that up. Now let's switch our mode on the amplitude and go into the B mode. That mode we're going to be doing volume ramps of our instrument signal. Let's hear what that sounds like. You can also have your low octave running in parallel. So I'm going to bring the octave up. On the parasite mode, it works similar, but now we're ramping the low octave. Let's hear that. Now that we've gone through the basics of the pedal, it is important for me to tell you about alternate controls. These are a different set of controls that it can be accessed by holding your bypass foot switch. You hold your bypass foot switch and tweak any of the knobs and will perform a different action than its main control. It is also worth mentioning that every time you're flicking between the modes using the mode toggle, the Zzombee will pull up a default setting for all the alternate controls. I'll show you an example. I'm going to apply the filter to my instrument signal and run an LFO. So it will always turn on the LFO and start at a default rate. That's just to give you a starting point to tweak your own sounds. The same will happen whenever you flick to your ramping mode, where your ramp is going to be set to a default speed, or also on your med mode. That's always going to bring up your filter movement running at a default rate. Okay, so this is it for a quick start. I hope this helps you start tweaking and making some cool sounds with your Zzombee.